You sounded like you were making laser noises. Pew pew. Pew pew pew.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Negative Space, a podcast where two art students talk about art. Or in this case, two art students talk about nothing.
We have no show notes, basically.
It's the topic of the day today.
Why is Snapchat on here?
We'll get to that. I'll tell you about my...
Alright.
Anyways, how are you doing, Simone?
I am doing fairly well. I just got back to my dorm. I'm tired. I didn't go full deep cleaning, but I did clean a bit. And now I'm too lazy to finish it up. So...
Man, I'm waiting for the end of the term to clean. Because I know that just trying to clean right now is going to be completely useless. Because by the time finals week rolls around, everything is going to, devolve into a complete mess. You know what happened last term? Our finals week, we made a pact, all three of us. We just decided that we were gonna, everything is off, during finals week, nothing matters in the house.
Is this why there was a knife on the floor for 3 days and nobody did anything about it?
What happened was, it was finals week and we all had to do books, process books for our finals for design, and so there was just a bunch of bookbinding supplies around in the dining room where the printer is, because we were all working there because the space is big, and so we had paper and cutting mats on the floor, and I came home one day, and first of all, Lindsay was just lying on the ground. My roommate was just lying on the ground, and she was just lying there. She wasn't even doing anything. She was just lying there, and I walked in and I was like, "Hey, Lindsay, how you doing? What's up?" And she's like, "Yeah, everything's good." And I look around, and and then I noticed there was a knife on the ground, right where all the bookbinding supplies were. There was just a knife lying there, and I was like, "Hey, Lindsay, Did you know that there's a knife on the ground over there?" And then her response was, "Yeah, I saw that, and then I chose to ignore it."
I'm still so curious as to who put that knife there.
I just don't know.
I mean, there's so much that we don't know still.
Anyways, we had a topic, sort of. We were just gonna tell stories, fun stories from our summer programs, because some crazy things went down over summer.
For both
and
of
I mean,
us.
it feels like summer already. There's some beautiful weather here in Southern California right now.
For me, it feels like it's supposed to be summer, but summer gave up a week in because I just had spring break, and for some reason my school spring break is really, really late compared to other school spring breaks, so we don't have that much more time left. We just got a 1 week break right near the end of school, and I'm so disappointed. I don't want to go back to school.
I don't even have break. It's so disappointing. We were just talking about this, me and Lindsay and some other people. All of our friends are on Snapchat and stuff, and they're posting all of their spring break. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're having fun." Yeah. And it's oh, what is break?
What is having a break from work like? I wonder.
Plus, oh my god, have you checked Rebecca and all those other people who are going to CCA? Have you checked their Snapchat stories?
Never.
Because they're party every day.
Really?
Yeah.
That is appalling, and I'm upset.
It's just, I want to have fun.
I guess now we know that CCA is the party art school. That is official.
Actually,
now.
I think that's actually CalArts.
No.
They're just doing cool stuff, going out in the city at night or something.
Seriously.
And it's please.
That is upsetting. That is.
I know. And then all the Snapchat stories of people who are going to normal college who are actually going to parties and drinking alcohol and crazy and cool stuff and having fun every night, and it's wow.
I'd have no idea.
That's
the one thing.
That's normal, right?
Yeah, I guess. The one thing that you need to know about me and Snapchat is I don't send anyone Snapchats. I don't I don't check people's stories. I just post stuff to my own story sometimes. And usually it's like 10 Snapchats in a day, and then I won't touch Snapchat for like 5 days, and then I'll just suddenly start posting again.
This is why I always feel so loved when you send me a Snapchat, because you rarely send Snapchat, so whenever you send me a Snapchat, it feels like you've personally reached across the ether to, like, tap me on the shoulder and show me something.
But I just do that to you in real life and on Skype. Like, I'm just like, and you get annoyed by it. So I guess what I've learned from Snapchat is that I should be very sparing when I show you things, because then you'll appreciate me more, and you won't just be like, I'm not clicking on that video.
I mean, the reason I wrote Snapchat right here on the show notes is because over the summer, so this was like 2 years ago? 2 years ago, right? It's over summer when we went to...
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. It took me a minute.
But, like, this was the time when, like, Snapchat, like, was starting to get really popular, and you guys all had Snapchats, you and Lindsay and Chelsea and, like, all those people. And I didn't have a Snapchat because at that time I didn't have a smartphone yet.
Right.
So I was like, well, there's no reason for me to download Snapchat because I can't send anything because there's, like, I have to have a Wi-Fi connection. And so I didn't have Snapchat. And so, like, all of these crazy things that happened over the summer, like, I didn't know about until afterwards. Like, I had to hear them secondhand.
We had to tell you in person.
Everybody knew them from Snapchat, and they're like, oh my god, that was so funny. I was like, what? And they're like, didn't you see the Snapchat? And I was like, no.
You're so lame. You know nothing. Now you're in the loop. But I feel like if you're getting into anything at all like that, it's like 2 years behind everyone else, right? And this all goes back to you, like, going to a private school in elementary school or whatever, right?
This is so
true. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
Even though you're out of a private school and you're just in the real world, you're still 2 years behind.
It's like, it's just that ripple effect where, like, I was just out of the loop for such a long time that it's, like, slowly propagating through the rest of my life, Yeah. Eventually I'm gonna catch up to all the cool things. I'm gonna be a cool kid.
Soon. Someday. Maybe not soon, but someday. Alright, so I guess we should tell some actual stories that we keep talking about and stop talking about Snapchat.
Let's tell some actual stories. So you went to CCA over the summer.
I did indeed.
Which I hear was pretty crazy.
It was weird.
Actually.
Like, I was originally gonna go in to do, like, illustration, but I decided, no, I'm actually gonna do illustration, so why don't I do something else that also interests me, which was game design. So I ended up taking the game design course, not realizing that it was kind of garbage.
Oh, no.
So it was pretty terrible. But as an overall experience, I just, like, it was nice being away from home. I draw a lot more when I'm away from home because I don't have my mom, like, on my back all the time. Like, why are you drawing? Why are you not doing work, even though your work is going to be drawing? And all that. It was a good experience overall. It's so weird, though. Like, taking the baddish class. I met some cool people, and there were some really weird people. But no, that's just the intro to, like, what my summer experience was like in general. What about you?
Oh, God. CISA was really... It was like... Oh, my God. So, if there's one thing that describes the CISA experience, it's, like, the first day when you come and they gather all of you in the, like, hall, and they give this... The president of CISA comes, and he, like, gives this whole talk. He's like, listen, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
If you do drugs, you'll get kicked out. If we think you're doing drugs, you'll get kicked out. If you smell like drugs, we'll call your parents. If you, like, have a pocket knife, we'll call your parents. If you, like, cut a piece of paper into the shape of a knife, we'll expel you. They're, like, super, super strict about this stuff, and they, like, give this entire talk about, like, if you're late to class by 1 minute, then you're missing, and then we call the police, and then, because they're really crazy about this stuff.
They baby the kids.
I guess because it's a state-funded thing, right? So if anything goes wrong, then, like,
they'll be in big-ass trouble.
Yeah, it's like a huge deal. Because it's like, oh, why is the government money going to this party school for kids to do weed?
Drugs. Yeah.
To inject
smoke the
weed.
alcohol and drink the weed. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was basically what it was like it was pretty uptight. I don't know. I went to CCA for the visual arts program, so everyone knows CCA for the animation program because it's hosted at CalArts. So their animation program is really strong. They don't take a lot of people for the animation program. They take like 15 people total, I think.
Yeah,
it's
I didn't
nuts.
get
Like,
in.
yeah, getting into the CCA animation program is like basically like the precursor to getting in for CalArts animation program.
You got a lot better chance if you got into CISA to get into CalArts.
Yeah, oh man, there was this guy at CISA who, like, got in 2 years in a row. Like, when I went, it was his second year in the animation program. For some reason...
So you've been going there for 2 years in the summer?
Yeah, he went there 2 years in a row. And apparently he was like, I think I was talking to him and he was like, oh yeah, I didn't know it was a big deal. Like... I just thought I'd apply twice in a row or something. It was like, oh,
Jesus.
Wow, okay, whatever, man. But yeah, I was in the visual arts program, which is chill. The animation program, they're like really super hardcore. Like, you see like maybe like one animation student in the hallway like the entire time you're there. Mm-hmm. You can tell because they have animation boards, and you'd be like, hey, look, it's an animation
student.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Exactly.
They exist.
At the same time. Oh no. Yeah, over here it was a lot, like, it wasn't just paint, because for CSSSA it was basically just like painting and drawing and then like animation and then a couple like other like drama related and music related ones, right?
Yeah, they had there was a music program. Okay, the music program was the chillest. So
that sounds cool.
Kathleen, who's one of my roommates, she was in the music program. And it was like, they didn't like have any homework. It was just like, oh yeah, I just gotta go to rehearsal. And then like, oh yeah, I don't start class until 12. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go hang out. They're just like
Sounds
really
nice.
Chill. It was the chillest. I should
have applied for the music program and the art program.
Honestly,
just for fun. Because I didn't end up doing what I was seriously considering anyways when I went to CCA. Like, I just did game design because I thought it would be good to get some experience, and then I just ended up kind of disappointed with the program. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the painting program, so I went to CISA for the visual arts department as a painting major. I actually was lucky. I got into a double major as a painting and digital media. Painting was super cool, especially because I had a really cool teacher. I've told you about Stuckey before, right, Jay?
Yeah.
He's so awesome. He would wear white every single day. White t-shirt, white pants every day to class. And he would never get paint on any of them, ever. It was nuts. He does
It's kind of like a show-off thing, huh?
I know, it is.
Like, just like, hey, look.
He does these paintings of, like, children's stick figures, but doing obscene things, like dreaming about boobs.
That's awesome. By the way, have I told
link.
you how much I loved your CSSSA teacher? He's every time I hear about him, I just get happier.
I know, he's really cool. I'll put a link to some of his work in the show notes. But he was super awesome. We just came in on the first day and he was like, "Oh yeah, guys, we're just gonna start painting. Like, grab a canvas." All the other classes were like, "Oh yeah, we're doing like color charts and stuff," and he was like, "No, I don't believe in color charts." We're just gonna start painting.
Fun.
Yeah.
It's like awesome. The best kind of especially for art. That's like the best is when you're just there to have fun and there to enjoy yourself doing art.
He was awesome. He was really nice. And he was like, the very first day we came in and he was like, "All right, the first thing you should know is I hate high schoolers." But he's like, "But you guys are okay."
Oh my god. That is kind of awesome.
I know. But yeah, so the painting program was cool. The digital media major is like, it's not for people who already have like experience in doing digital stuff. Like, I was like, oh, this looks interesting. I was lucky that I got a double major, because if I only had a major in digital media, I think I would have been kind of disappointed, because basically you spend the first week learning like, this is a brush, this is a lasso tool, and you just like have to do things that you already know about in Photoshop. And like week 2 you like make a video, which is weird because like all of us were like kind of interested in illustration and none of us wanted to like do video stuff, but it was just fun. We just like goofed around because the video project was it was just like a scavenger hunt, and you had to like run around the campus and, like, look for random things, like, roll a trash can down the hill or something, and then you had to take a video of it, and then we had to make a video. But that was fun. And the final I did for that class actually ended up being part of my portfolio, because the final is super open-ended. Yeah, you just do whatever you want. So I ended up doing this, like, interactive point-and-click kind of story thing. That was fun. All in all, it was a good experience.
Okay, for me, my experience was, like, overall, like, pretty good, but when it came to the actual class, it wasn't really, like, you know, like, I've said before, like, that it wasn't really that impressive of a program, but, overall, I had fun, because I was there with your current roommates, Chelsea and Lindsay, and they made the whole entire thing for me. I think if they weren't there, I probably would have just been miserable and alone.
Aww.
A lot of, it's just because so many, like, especially if they're still high schoolers, so many art students are just, like, full of it. Like, they're like, oh, I'm artsy, and I, like, you know, do weird stuff, and it's like, yeah, but I don't care. Just act like a human being for a little bit, please.
Oh my god, wait, that was one of the things that I, like, if you go to, like, any of the summer events, like you said, like, everyone who's there is, like, this is, like, their first time being in an environment where, like, other people are art students, and, like, somehow they feel like they have to prove that they're, like, also artsy, right? And so there's this thing
they have to prove that they're the artist.
Like, so at CCA, if you were waiting to get into a class or something, you would just sit outside in the hallway and wait for the door to open, but what would happen is, like, people would, like, get out their sketchbooks and be, like, drawing, but they'd, like, you can tell kind of sometimes that they're not actually drawing because they're like, oh yeah, this would be cool to draw. No, it's just because they're like, oh, quick, gotta prove to everyone else that I'm an artist.
I have to prove that I'm a good artist. I want people to look over my shoulder and see that I'm drawing and that I'm drawing well.
Someone even said, they're like, oh my god, I love how, like, when you, like, are at school, everybody's, like, on their phone and stuff, but when you come here, people are, like, drawing in their sketchbooks, and it's like, okay, listen. And no, that's one of the thing about Art Center is it's, like, super chill. Is, like, by the time you get here, like, you know that everyone who's here, like, obviously they're like, okay, like, we're all sick of drawing, right? I've been in a 5-hour drawing class, like, I just want to die. And so, like, nobody has to pretend that they're like, oh, I'm such an artist, because it's like, okay, yeah, we get it, everyone got here, that's enough.
Yeah, once you're, like, in for real, you just kind of, I mean, I'm not sure about other people, but, like, you chill out a bit. There's, I don't know, like, it's kind of bad now where I am at. Like, some of the art students are super, like, oh yeah, no, I'm, like, into all that cool stuff. I Instagram my art, and I don't know. I don't know why I'm sorry, Instagram users. I'm not making fun of you. I just don't use your app that much, so I'm abusing the name. But no, it's just, like, and with the high schoolers, it was so bad, because, like, they were all, like, so stoked that they were super adult and, like, doing drugs and stuff. Like, there was this one kid that was, like, smoking outside. Like, every chance he got, he would, like, be smoking outside, and he'd be like, look, had this look on his face, like, yeah, I'm cool, because I'm smoking and I'm 18, and it was just, like, do you really think I care? I'm just kind of feeling bad for your lungs a little bit.
We have to admit, like, part of this is also because, like, our high school was pretty sheltered, so we're like, oh yeah, these things are, like, parties.
We have no idea what's going on in the real world.
Because we were like, sorry, you gotta study every day. But really, I guess in normal high schools, it's actually kind of like this. We're just...
Yeah, well, it's because, like, our school, I guess, held back that, like, them just being kind of extreme in their, like, high school to us was just, like, way over the top.
Normal behavior in high school was like, oh, whoa, edgy.
Yeah. I just, like, especially if I don't know if there's something about our school that's different where we didn't really, like, think that much about ourselves being art students, and it's probably because we were around a lot of other, like, pretty smart people, right? So, like, in turn, we weren't actually, like, disappointed by society around us, right? Because most of the people around us were pretty well educated, pretty smart. But it's also stupid to, like, think that you're above everyone else. So I don't know. Yeah, so there were a lot of kids like that at my at my
No, it was
summer college
it
experience.
was all
What about
right.
you?
I mean, I think it was a little bit different because there was an application process. There was like a screening process to get into CISA. So like, I don't know if that made people more stuck
Right.
up or like less stuck up, but it was, you know, in general it was actually all right. I mean, I had a kind of tough time at the beginning because like I didn't have any friends. I mean, I did. I like had my roommate, like my two roommates. We like were pretty good. We knew each other pretty well, but like I didn't like really try to talk to people or like get out there or anything. Like oh my god, there were people who were like dating within the first week. Honestly, it was
that's kind of
nuts. It was like
what?
I don't know, but like yeah, you know, like some people who are like pretty social like make an effort, go out and like talk to people and become friends with them. Like they'll like make a conscious effort to do that, and I didn't. I just like ate alone in the cafeteria.
Apparently that's how you make friends, by the way.
Wait, Sam,
I had no idea.
That is actually what happened, though.
Yeah, no, that's happening to me, like, right now. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't want to talk. I'm fine with people talking to me. I just don't want to go and talk to people.
No, that's what happened. It was like, I was just, like, eating alone in the cafeteria or whatever, and that's, like, kind of how I met Jonathan, who's, like, the only person from CISA that I still am in contact with, and it's like, oh, yeah, we're just chilling out alone here in the corner table. And then, we got to know each other after that. Yeah, he's, like, he's the only person that I still know, that I still talk to ever. I mean, other than my roommates, but that's because they were my roommates. But, like, they have a Facebook group and everything, and, like, people are like, oh, let's have a reunion, and it's like, I don't know any of these people.
Did you, like, there's so many people there, though. Was there anyone that you actually made a real connection with? Like, I don't think I remember anybody except for, like, how pretentious they were. Like, I just remember some pretentious people, and then my friends, mostly. Oh, yeah! And this one girl, but I'll tell that story later. So,
no, it was just Jonathan, and like we just kind of talk on Skype sometimes, and because he wants to come to Art Center, so it's like, okay, yeah, we just talk.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
So it's just this is the only person. Oh, and one other person who I sort of like saw, but now I guess we were friends on Facebook, so now we just kind of talk to each other on Facebook sometimes. But that's it. Anyways, wait, who is this girl?
No, there was this girl, and she was rooming with somebody that I already knew, so this is the only reason why I knew anything about this girl, was because she was my friend,
Rebecca's roommate.
And she, like, if she couldn't have been any more different than Rebecca, like, she was really sweet, like, super innocent, like, almost in a scary way. Like, she's the kind of person where if you asked her what sex was, you're not entirely sure if she'd know. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's just that kind of person, and, like, she like, had this sort of wonderment about, like, being on her own and going to, like, this summer program. Like, one day I lived in the room right across from them, and one day I just saw her walk out of her room wearing, like, these toy fairy wings, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, it's just, like, just the way that she dressed kind of let you know, like, the kind of person she was. And I didn't think much about it. I just thought, oh, she's kind of cute. I, like, you know, I hope she doesn't get totally crushed by the reality of the world. And one day, like, there are these kids that were, I guess, messing around with alcohol and fireworks. And, you know, a bunch of kids got kicked out. You know, I think it was alcohol, fireworks, and drugs. I think they got noticed because of the fireworks, but there was also
the lethal trio.
and so all these people got kicked out. It was insane. It was like half of the dorm was just gone, right? So I was like, oh, well, you know, I was kind of expecting, maybe not on this much of a scale, but I was kind of expecting for something terrible like this to happen. They were going to get in trouble, they were going to do all this stuff and get kicked out. It's about 2 weeks in, and I'm kind of watching people trickle out, and then I walk into Rebecca's room later that day, and I'm like, hey, where's your roommate? And she's like, oh, she got kicked out. God. And I was like, the one with the fairy wings? the really cute girl? Like, the one that seemed like she was too innocent to do anything? And she was like, yeah, she she was with the whole group that was doing, like, the drugs thing. And I was like, what?
Oh my god.
How? There's no way. And the best that I could figure was that, like, she was just so gullible and, like, just wanted to get along with everybody that she just went with
it. That's sad.
So I felt so bad, and especially because you know that her parents were gonna be, like, the really sheltering type and, like, you know, just, like, doting over their lovely daughter, and that they love their daughter so much. I can't imagine coming home after, like, in her situation, coming home after having done that and trying to explain to your parents what had happened.
Man.
And the saddest part is that I think she left Rebecca a note.
Oh my god.
Apologizing.
It was the sweetest thing. That's so sad.
It was so sweet, and I felt so bad for her. I was like, she didn't deserve that. Those people that, like, were doing all the bad stuff, they shouldn't. I can't believe they touched my precious child. You know?
Honestly, though,
I was upset, and I didn't even know her.
The thought that my parents would have to come all the way down to Valencia to get me was the one thing that, like, scared me completely out of my mind. Like, I was terrified. I was like, oh my god, like, I could just picture the experience in my head of having to explain to my parents, like, oh yeah, I got kicked out. Like, not that I would ever do anything to get me kicked out. Like, please, do you even know me?
But it just made you extra careful, right? Like, just, like, to especially stay away from those people.
So, like, what happened was the very first day, right, they do this whole thing, and one of the things that they tell you is that you're not allowed to have knives, like, of any kind. And I was like, oh, well, that sucks, because I brought an X-Acto knife with me, because that's, like, a normal thing to bring with you when you go to, like, art camp, right? It's like, okay, I might need this.
Maybe not on a normal camp, but an art camp, it makes sense.
And so I was like, and the first day, it had me so freaked out that I was like, so they have this thing that they do at the beginning where it's like, they have, like, a drop box where basically you can just put whatever you want in the drop box. If you brought cocaine with you or something, like, no questions, you can just drop it off, and then, you know, it's, like, all good. I went to that drop box and I was like, I brought a knife, and I, like, took the blade out of my X-Acto knife and I dropped it off. And
that is adorable.
I was just so scared, man. I was like, I can't get kicked out. I can't explain to my parents that I got kicked out because I brought a knife with me.
Yeah. And they wouldn't understand either. Like, even if you tried to explain to them, it's just an X-Acto knife. And it was, like, you know, just, like, a really unfortunate...
And someone did get kicked out, because someone they had, like, a pocket knife or something, and it was, like, I don't know, I don't remember what happened exactly. But yeah, people got kicked. Oh. I know you had your, like, huge, like a drugs bust or whatever that was, like, that huge thing.
Yeah.
We just had... I don't know, I never heard exactly what happened. There were just, like, rumors that, like, 3 people got kicked out, but I don't actually remember why. It was like, it had something to do, there's, like, this Death Valley behind the dorms where they tell you, like, don't go to Death Valley, there's rattlesnakes there, and so you're not supposed to go there.
I love how it's literally Death Valley. It's not even, like, it's desert, it's actually Death Valley.
It's called Fire Valley. That's what they call it. It's just, you're not supposed to go there, and I guess 3 people, like, were caught there or something. I don't know. They got kicked out. But that's the most of what I know about. Everyone was pretty straight arrow at CCA. It's because they scared the living daylights out of us with that first speech.
Yeah. Yeah, our first day, like, they had that same talk, but it didn't really have that impact. Like, everyone was just like, alright, and you knew that there were going to be those people that were not going to listen and think they could get away with it, which they obviously didn't for the most part. But no, speaking of blades, I have a blade story from CCA.
Oh my gosh.
There were these 2 guys that were rooming together, right? They were both, I think they were guys. One of them, like, I guess was messing with the other a lot, and he was, you know, just, like, messing around with him, like, haha, you know, I'm, you know, ruining your day, I'm doing something weird to annoy you. Apparently, he annoyed the other guy so much that this other guy stabbed him in the hand with scissors.
I haven't heard this story before.
And this is the second life story I have that involves people stabbing each other with scissors in the hand. I don't know what it is with scissors in hands for me, but yeah. Some guy stabbed another guy in the hand with scissors, and I think I watched him go.
That's crazy. So, how does it even get to that point? How do you even...
I don't know. If you're really that annoying, and if that guy is really, like, Because, you know, when you mess with somebody, you have to be careful. Like, you can't just mess with anybody. You have to know them a little bit first.
Yeah. Is that why you keep sending me, like, hot dog Guy Fieri?
It's a good picture. I don't know what your problem is with it. It's just a hot dog that morphs into Guy Fieri.
Please.
As a baby, I might add.
Wait, okay. You have to tell the watermelon story. Because this is the one...
It's not that good of a story.
It's beautiful.
You're building it up.
It's
It's okay. It's an okay story. Okay. So, once upon a time in CCA, Chelsea and Lindsay decided to go shopping. But at the time, they were super into MapleStory, and they were, like, grinding or whatever, or they wanted to save. I don't even know what I was doing, but they asked me to stay back at the room and, like, basically just watch their games and, like, wiggle their characters around and maybe shoot some stuff. And I was doing this on 2 computers, so I was like, okay, so I was just kind of going back and forth between the computers while they went shopping for dinner. And I was like, oh, since you're shopping for dinner, can you pick something up for me? And they're like, oh yeah, totally. So they go out, and they're asking, like, oh, what do you want us to get you? And I was like, I don't know, surprise me.
fatal last words.
It's a terrible idea. I should have never said that to Lindsay or Chelsea, but, you know, what you do. So I said surprise me because I didn't have any preference at the time. No, so they go out for a while. I watch their MapleStory games, and I think about... I think, what must it be like to be this addicted to a game where you have somebody babysitting your game for you. They get back, and it's very sudden, this event. I had no idea what was happening as it was happening. But the door suddenly opens, and Lindsay starts yelling, I'm pregnant! I'm having a baby! And she yells, and she comes over to my bed, and she opens up her shirt, and a watermelon falls out onto the bed. And I'm like, oh, what is this? And she's like, it's for you, it's your dinner. And then I have to tell her that I don't like watermelon. After they prepared this whole skit of her giving birth to a watermelon and buying an entire watermelon.
After all that trouble they went through.
They went through so much trouble to bring me a beautiful watermelon baby, and I don't even like watermelon. I felt terrible, but at the same time it was hilarious. So it was okay.
So good. Wait, so like you guys went out like shopping for dinner and stuff? Was the cafeteria food that bad?
It was pretty darn bad.
The food at CCA was so good.
You've said this before and I'm insanely jealous.
They had a catering company come in to do the dinner like every day, and so every night it was like a different kind of like, it was like tacos or like hamburgers or pasta or like, yeah, and so every night it was like something like cool. And plus I'm vegetarian, so I was worried that they would have nothing for me to eat, but it turns out like that every night they had like a vegetarian option. If there was meat in it, they would just be like, oh yeah, you can have a veggie patty or something, and it was like, oh yeah, thank you. Also, I ate like 20 egg salad sandwiches, honestly, because the lunch menu is always usually the same, and so I would just go and I would make an egg salad sandwich, and I'd eat an egg salad sandwich like every day for like a month. Oh, I used to steal bagels from the cafeteria too. They tell you that you're not supposed to take food out of the cafeteria, but
who's gonna listen
honestly,
to that?
Sometimes you just get hungry at
Nobody.
night, and you need...
Yeah.
So me and Kathleen would steal bagels, and then we'd just leave them in our dorm room. We were not allowed to like... Well, I mean, we were allowed to like leave campus, but it had to be... It was a pretty long schedule of classes, so like there was only certain times when you wouldn't have class and like you could just leave. And even if you did, you had to walk like 20 minutes. And plus it was the middle of the summer in Valencia, which is like... It was
right next to a desert called Fire Valley.
And it was
so
like 100 degrees every day. And so the only way that you could get to like the Walmart in the neighboring, you had to like cross the bridge over the freeway to go to Walmart, and there's like a Noah's Bagels there, and like there's like some stuff there, but you had to like walk in this 100-degree heat, and like nobody wanted to do that, and so mostly we just all kind of stayed in our dorms and like didn't do anything.
Our school is actually right next to a Safeway, so that's where we did all our shopping. Is Like, we had some cooking supplies, and we actually, I don't know why my actual college doesn't have a kitchen, but, like, the one that I went to for 4 weeks over the summer did. It's kind of disappointing. But yeah, no, they had a kitchen, so we just had all this cooking supplies and would go shopping.
Hey.
And cook food.
Hey.
It was nice.
Hey.
What?
Did you make ramen?
Oh, don't. All these stories are mostly about me.
It's
I
because
feel like
you
this
had
is
such
just making
good
fun
stories.
of me, the episode.
Come on,
right.
Simone. Watch this magic.
Do I have to tell this story?
You do. You have to. The only reason that I wanted to do this episode is so you could tell the story.
And you know what's funny about this is that right now on Skype, my mood is watch this magic. Specifically because I've been thinking about that story. Okay, here we go. Here's Sam's favorite story about me ever that she always laughs at me about. It was evening. And I was making my lunch dinner, and it was ramen, right? Which I'm super great at making because it takes like 5 minutes, and you just, you crack an egg and you pour it in, and it's beautiful. It's a boiled egg in your ramen. I make the best ramen eggs ever.
Here's the thing, Simone makes
confirm.
the best ramen eggs because Simone has this impeccable sense of timing, so you can't pull it out too soon because then it's just like a goopy mess, but you can't pull it out too late because then it turns into an eraser, right? So,
yeah.
So Simone has just the right amount of timing where the yolk is like just liquid enough where it tastes good, but like not too liquid. So yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I make the perfect ramen eggs, and I'm super proud of that, which is exactly why the story that is about to happen happened. So I'm alone in the kitchen, by the way, and Lindsay just kind of walks by in the hallway, and I turn and look at her, and I say, "Hey, Lindsay, I'm holding this egg that's been sitting out for like a couple minutes, so it's kind of sweaty, 'cause how eggs get sweaty when they sit out for too long." I turn and look at Lindsay, and I say, "Hey, watch this magic." And I'm about to crack it on the counter, but because it's a sweaty egg, it slips out of my hand, and I smash it into the counter trying to catch it.
The thing is, from Lindsay's perspective, she has no idea what you were trying to do, and so all you said is, "Watch this magic," and then you body slammed the egg into the counter.
I didn't body slam an egg, okay? I might have smashed it I smashed it with the palm of my hand, right into the counter. The shell goes everywhere. Lindsay just stares at me and starts laughing, and I'm like, wait, I think I might have scared her a bit, actually. I think I might have freaked her out. She's just like, why did you do that? And I was like, no, I just meant to crack it. I didn't mean to drop it. And she's like, but you didn't drop it. You smashed it into the counter.
Just the fact that Lindsay had absolutely no context for what you did.
I know. It's what makes the entire story.
Oh, God. And this is why from time to time, every time I see anything involving an egg, I'll just send it to Simone.
Yeah, everyone associates me with eggs now. Everyone knows the story because Lindsay started it. She wanted me to tell everybody the story, and
it's because it's so good.
Everybody knows the story.
God.
It is, it's the perfect kind of story because it's just embarrassing enough where it's funny,
yeah.
But it's not so embarrassing that I feel like ashamed every time I tell it.
It's
perfect.
Derek's Kappa story that he never wants to tell because he's so deeply, deeply ashamed.
That is an awesome story, we are not at liberty to tell it.
We are not.
So, unfortunately, that you will have to let that story pass by. And just wonder, what could the Kappa story possibly be about? Other than an ancient Japanese sea creature.
Oh boy. I feel like all of our friends, like, we have good stories. I don't know.
I think that goes in general for people. Maybe we are just good at telling them.
I feel like I never had good stories before I met you guys. Like, nothing exciting happened, but like after hanging out with like you and the rest of the guys and Lindsay and all of these people, it's like slowly there's just more stories that are just funny and good to tell.
Yeah. And that's like, that's one of my favorite things in life is when you have like, because like, I always want to be a really good storyteller, like, that's an awesome thing to be able to be. So I always strive to be better at that.
Let's be real, Derek is the best at telling stories.
Derek is the best at... It's because he knows the exact amount of time to pause and how exactly to phrase
His comedic timing is...
Like, sometimes I'll kind of jump around, like, I'll tell part, and then I'll be like, alright, I forgot to tell this important part that you need to know.
It's on point.
I'll go back.
He's the best at it.
Oh, sock on the door.
Oh, God.
Well, for
sock
me.
on the door. I mean, okay, for me, it was weird to see people dating after, like, 2 weeks. I feel like they're still together, honestly. I think I see pictures of them on Facebook sometimes. But, okay, your sock on the door story was funny.
Yeah. I don't know, there's something really bizarre about CCA. Like, it was just enough of a party summer thing that it got very interesting.
Wasn't it, like, day 2?
It was day 2. We were there for about 2 days. Two 24-hour periods, 48 hours. And we look outside, and there's a sock on the doorknob of the room across from us, and it's the sort of thing where you, like, see it in movies about college, where, like, they like, the teenager, or the college students, like, put the sock on the door, and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, it's secret code, but, like, obviously everybody knows what it is, because it's in, like, every movie ever, and nobody ever does it in real life. So, like, it was just, like, we look outside, and we're like, is that a joke, or is that for real? It was for real. We kept opening the door to take a look at it to see how long it
Oh my God.
It sat there for about an hour, maybe, and the best part was, once, when I stuck my head out to kind of check on the sock on the door, the RA walked by, and he just kind of slowly stares at it, and, like, you know, it's like in a movie when you, like, walk by somebody you hate, and it just, like, goes into slow motion, and it's like, Joo, you know? That happened with the RA and the sock on the door. Like, he just kind of slowed down and turned his head as he was walking, and then kind of stopped for a second, and then just looked straight ahead again, and just went back to his room, like, kind of walking a little bit faster.
Oh, man.
It was really funny. And then later that day, they have, like, these daily meetings, like, you know, blah, 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 this is going on, so check that out. The RA said, and please, you can't have sex in here, because none of you are, like...
18.
Most of you aren't old enough yet. Most of you are not of legal age. It was ridiculous.
Surreal.
Mostly for the fact is because I could only imagine, like, it being these high school students, and them being like, oh, well, how do you keep people out? Well, in the movies, right? And it could only go on from there. Like, hilarious.
Man, we had the best RA. He was awesome. His name was Ferdinand. He was so cool. We called him Ferdimom. We were just jokingly called him Ferdimom all the time. And, like, yeah, you know, he was super sweet. And, on the last day when we were leaving, we wrote a song for him, me and Kathleen. And Kathleen had her violin, and she was just plucking the violin, and I just sang him our little song on the last day. It was really good.
That's cute.
And then it was his birthday recently, I think, and I commented on Facebook. I was like, oh, happy birthday. And then he, like, responded, and he even remembered what our room number was. Like, I didn't even remember what our room number was, and he remembered which room we were in.
Now that is dedication to your...
I know.
To your, summer children.
It was crazy.
That sounds really sweet. My RA was interesting. He, like... Actually, I'm pretty sure I would have been pretty good friends with him if it weren't for the fact that he was probably thinking... like, you know, these are all kids and I can't relate to them at all. Like, which is weird because at this point, I have a lot of older friends on the internet, and it's just, you know, it's normal. But, like, he was, like, you know, super into video games. He had a Smash setup in his
Seriously?
room.
That's really...
And, yeah, like a CRT TV.
Oh my God.
And, like, for one of his projects, because he was, like, you know, he was in one of those, like, make-your-own major things in art school. Which is a pretty common thing. If you don't know, like, they just kind of let you construct your own major, and as long as it, like, you know, is a pretty solid concept, and it's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna do whatever, they'll let you do it. So he was doing that, and one of the things that he did for one of his projects was actually make, like, the Master Chief armor.
Oh,
it was pretty cool. I saw him wear it one time. But yeah, no, he was a pretty cool guy. I just think he was kind of, you know, awkward, because he was, like, these
children.
weird kids doing drugs.
Oh, man. Wait, okay, one of the weirdest parts of CISA, honestly, was, like, we had, at the beginning, they have a faculty show, so, like, all of the faculty, like, show their work, and it's not just the faculty that like show off their artwork and stuff, it's also the TAs, so like the TAs for all of their classes. And so the TAs are actually like CalArts students, but it's all because we were the visual art, so it's all like fine art department students from CalArts who were TAs. And so like some of the some of the work that the TAs showed was like really, it was like, wow, this is definitely like fine art, contemporary performance art stuff. Like one of my TAs, I think her name was also Simone, she had one of her pieces was a video where she just stood in front of the camera. She had she had a Campbell's soup can in her hand, and then she opened the Campbell's soup can, she drank the entire thing, and the camera pans down to her stomach, and she kind of like jiggles her stomach for like 30 seconds, and that was the video.
I remember
and
I
was like, oh, okay. And one of my,
you know, if I saw that, I would have started laughing I would have started laughing really hard. Said at the beginning, she's like, yeah, you can laugh. I know it's funny. And so we were all kind of like chuckling a little bit, but we weren't sure. We didn't want to laugh too loud because we didn't want to offend her. I would have lost my mind. Like I wouldn't survive that. Because I laughed pretty easily.
I don't remember at all who it was, but she was like super obsessed with tomatoes, and she would make these sculptures of so you know how tomatoes at the bottom, you know, they have that like that little point.
It's like a little tomato butthole.
That's exactly it. And so she was like, she makes sculptures of tomatoes, but with their buttholes facing up, like these huge
that's
sculptures,
kind of awesome.
like 2 foot by like 3 foot sculptures of tomatoes with their butts facing up. And then she also like shot a video where she like went to the farmer's market, bought like 20 pounds of tomatoes, and she just like filmed them in slow motion bouncing across a trampoline.
That is awesome.
It's a surreal experience, honestly, seeing all of the the faculty shows. It's a good time.
The only work of my RA that I saw was that Master Chief suit, and he did a pretty good job. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
sounds
awesome.
really cool.
I want one. I don't even like Halo that much, and I want one. I kind of like Halo.
Wow, I think I'm out of stories. Do you have any that you can remember? Mostly, I just wanted you to tell the egg story.
I know. This entire episode was just you waiting for the right moment to make me tell the egg story.
It's true. It's true. Guilty as charged. I think that's all of the cool, the really the best stories I think we've already exhausted here. Do you want to do one cool things? So my one cool thing this week is I'm gonna send you a video. You don't have to watch it. You just you can tell mostly what it's about from the title. I'll put this link in the show notes. Basically, have I shown you this already?
No, I was gonna say that I misread Thrifted Transformations as Titty Transformations, but
thanks.
Anyways, moving on. On with your thing.
So it's a video series called Thrifted Transformations. It's by coolirpa on YouTube. It's basically this girl. She goes to the thrift store and buys like random items of clothing that like look really bad and are too big for her, and she just sews them and turns them into really cool things. Like in this video.
Oh, I've seen this before, actually.
Yeah, in this video, she has like this blazer that's like 2 sizes too big and like a kind of like dingy looking leather jacket, and she like puts them together into this awesome blazer that's like got like leather sleeves and like a cool. Anyways, so I've been
that is cool.
Watching all of her videos because they're really really cool, and it's made me really want to. I don't know. I didn't bring my sewing machine with me here. It's still at home, so once I get back to the Bay Area, I'm definitely gonna I've been wanting to sew things for a while.
We should go thrift shopping together, honestly.
We should go thrift shopping together.
That would be so anymore.
Oh man.
Well,
no,
people
the thing
do
that
so, but it's not very common. It's not as common as it used to be.
The thing that I really want to do is so for my final for design 2, or not my final, my midterm, one of the comps that I did was of it was like we had to do decade patterns, which is basically you had to take a decade in history and then you had to make a pattern based off of it. And I chose like 1960s space exploration. And so
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so I took the Mercury helmets and I did drawings of the Mercury helmets from like the front and sides, and then I like put it into a pattern. And for our midterm, we are allowed to do clothing. So like Stephanie, one of the people in my class, she made a skirt. One of her design comps was like, it was like a drawing of cheese, because the prompt was it had to be texture, and so she made a skirt out of cheese. Like she like had her design printed on fabric and then made a skirt out of it, so it was just a cheese skirt. It was really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I wanted to what I wanted to do was I wanted to take that helmet pattern, and I wanted to have it printed on like some silk or something, and then make a bomber jacket with that as the lining. But I don't have my sewing machine, and I didn't think I'd have time to do it, so I still want to do it, not for my midterm, just for fun. So maybe I'll get to do that over the summer. Do you want to mention whatever?
Yeah, but I'm mostly just mentioning it because I want you to get the app. There's this, if you haven't heard of it already, which I would be surprised if you're a Nintendo fan, they released this app, their first app, but it is called Miitomo, where basically you make a little Mii character, and like it's supposed to be yourself, but you can just do whatever if you want. It's not like it's checking your history,
check your ID
as a person to make sure that you're doing yourself, but it basically just lets you like interact with your friends in an interesting way, like asking them questions, and like you answer, and you just can kind of scroll through the answers to these weird preset questions. I see about half jokes, half actual responses. Most of the stuff that I see on my feed are just people messing with each other, but it's pretty great. It's really cute, and it's actually, I think it's one of the best graphically looking apps I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice. Unless we're talking about like something legit, like that game that came out a while ago that I can't remember the name of. So you'll never know what I'm talking about, but you know, that.
Yeah.
It's cute. And I'm gonna make Sam get it so that I can bother her on even more social media
Fine,
sites.
Simone, I'll get it just for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll do it. I do it right now, but my phone is all the way across the room, so I'll do it after we stop recording.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's our episode for today. If you have any questions, comments, if you have your own summer school experiences, you can email us at negspacepodcast@gmail.com. You can find the show notes at samanthashay.com/negative-space, and subscribe on iTunes, rate us on iTunes, leave a comment or something if you think we're cool.
And if you do, I just wanted to do this before you tried to end the episode for real. If you do have an interesting or funny summer art school story, I think we probably will read it out next time, won't we?
Yes, we absolutely will.
Yes.
Especially if you went to one of our summer programs.
Especially if it involves eggs, you know?
Yeah. If you have any stories involving eggs, you can send them in. We'll read
Only
any
eggs,
and all stories involving eggs, I promise. That's a standing offer. All right. Well, I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Bye.